At last, Toho month has come to an end, so let's hopefully end things on a high note. This is Rebirth of Mothra III, the final film in the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, and the last movie that I will be reviewing in this Toho series of reviews. The movie came out in 1998 and follows the return of King Ghidorah, who not only makes his comeback after Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, and not only marking his only appearance without Godzilla, but within the context of the film, this marks his return to Earth after his first visit during the Age of the Dinosaurs. King Ghidorah goes around Japan kidnapping a bunch of children that he can consume because they give him energy. It's bizarre, but whatever, just go with it. Soon Mothra is summoned, but King Ghidorah proves to be too strong. Too strong as in he's practically invincible to all of her attacks. And she gets the worst beating of her career. Like, she practically gets massacred. So the Allies figure out that the only way Mothra could possibly defeat King Ghidorah is to travel back in time to his first appearance on Earth, and hopefully defeat him when he was much younger. So Mothra goes back in time, and it's basically a battle across time to try and defeat the greatest monster villain ever, King Ghidorah. Now, I did not see this movie until many years, like maybe more than a decade after seeing the first two Rebirth of Mothras, but I do remember one day that it was airing on the Sci-Fi Channel, back when it was spelled correctly. I was going through the TiVo, saw that Rebirth of Mothra 3 was available to record, and I'm like, alright, I'm recording this, I'm gonna watch it one night, it's gonna be awesome, so I recorded it. And the night it aired, our cable went out. It didn't record, and I was just like, God damn it! So I basically had to wait more than a decade to see Rebirth of Mothra 3. I ended up watching it at college. I found it on the internet, because that's where you find all things, and watched it, and it was surprisingly good. I'd say that this is my favorite of the Rebirth of Mothra movies. One thing, you have King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah is one of the greatest Godzilla enemies ever, and usually when King Ghidorah is in a movie, even if it's utter trash like Godzilla vs. Gigan, his presence will usually make the movie a little better than it truly has a right to be. And this really is one of the best incarnations of King Ghidorah ever. Like, he's huge, he's mean looking, he's powerful, and what I really love about this movie is that he's not easy to take out. Unlike Ghidorah in Rebirth of Mothra 2, who was kind of a punk. He would get defeated easily. The second Mothra shoots her lasers at King Ghidorah, and you see that it just doesn't work, it's at that point you say, oh shit, this is not gonna end well for Mothra, but it's awesome. And speaking of Mothra, her design in this movie is quite different because they switch special effects directors for this one. So her design is more streamlined and looks more like an insect. Not quite realistic, but at least she isn't as fluffy as she looked in the first two movies and Godzilla vs. Mothra from 1992. So I really enjoy this new look of Mothra, and like in the last movie, she has a new form called Armored Mothra, which is basically the closest thing we'll ever get to Mecha Mothra, even though it's Mothra. But it's a cool design. It doesn't pop up until the very end of the movie, and it doesn't have the same Deus Ex Machina feeling that Aqua Mothra did in the second movie. One thing I really like are the scenes back in prehistoric times when Mothra travels back to the past. You get this whole look at the age of the dinosaurs, and most of the dinosaurs are little puppets that just walk around, and it's just really cool looking. If I'd seen this as a kid, I would have fallen in love with that. And it's still cool, but as an adult, it definitely looks cheesy. There are some flaws, however. While it's the best of the trilogy, it's still flooded with problems. One thing, the human characters here are, once again, beyond useless in this movie. I understand for this series being aimed at kids, you need some kid characters to identify with, but really they don't do much outside of allowing the Elias to bounce exposition off of them because they don't do anything. The entire focus of the series should have been on Maul, Laura, and Belvira. So these human characters just prove to be completely useless and not very good in terms of acting. The movie has quite a lot of CG in this movie, more than any of the past Toho movies before. I think this might be one where they really started utilizing CG, and it is awful looking. It is just really bad to watch. It looks like a PlayStation 2 game. I mean, like, quite literally it does. I know a lot of people like to throw that around with the Star Wars prequels, like, oh, it looks like a PlayStation 2 video game. And I'm like, give it a little more credit than that. But this is really bad. Like, it's further proof that CG in Japanese films do not work at all. They are just painful to watch and hurt the eyes. And for utilizing time travel, this movie really just doesn't care about anything. Like, it doesn't try to build a science around its time travel, like with Back to the Future or even Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's time travel aspect had more science behind it than this movie. So it's just like there are a lot of inconsistencies. You're going to ask a lot of questions. It's just they don't even try it with this movie at all. And given that time travel movies can really hurt your brain if you think about it a lot, this one will make your head explode if you even try to put any ounce of logic into it. And one nitpick I'll say is that this series brought back the traditional Mothra song, but it doesn't bring back the King Ghidorah theme that Ifukube composed. I understand that the music in this series is a little more upbeat and lighthearted, but some of the other Godzilla movies that had a different tone in terms of its score still utilized the Godzilla theme, so I just didn't understand why they couldn't use the King Ghidorah theme here. But regardless, Rebirth of Mothra 3 in the end is a pretty good movie. It's not for everyone, but it has a very fast pace. It doesn't drag like any of the other movies. The action scenes are fun. Special effects are a ton of fun to watch. King Ghidorah is awesome. Mothra is awesome. It has problems, but it's still better than that other non-Godzilla movie that came out in 1998. So for Rebirth of Mothra 3, it's good. But again, it is not great at all. And for this series as a whole, even though I have mixed feelings on the first one and dislike the second one, this series is like perfect for kids. So the kids will definitely love this series, but if you had to pick one movie to watch this one. Rebirth of Mothra 3 would be the last monster movie that Toho would make without the Godzilla character. Then the Millennium series of Godzilla films came around from 1999 to 2004, and there's just been a lot of nothing until this year with Godzilla Resurgence coming out in Japan. I can't wait to see that, but I'm wondering, when will it be out in the US? Will Toho make more Godzilla movies after this? And will they branch out into non-Godzilla monster movies? It'll be interesting to see, but I'm glad Godzilla is coming back in full force, both in Japan and the United States. I can't wait to see what the future is, and it just has me excited. So yeah, that's my review of Rebirth of Mothra 3 and all of the Toho science fiction movies that I have seen. Obviously, there are some that I have missed, so those will be reviews one day whenever I see them. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I can't wait to hear what you think about Rebirth of Mothra 3, if and when you see it. Like, comment, subscribe, share me with your friends, check out my official website, and you can go follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and Periscope. And also, check out my channel on riff.tv. I'm experimenting with this new site where you can give picture-in-picture commentaries while watching Netflix. Just recorded an episode, so go there, tell me what you think of it. This is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.